Hi all, this is Nikki with the Crow's Claw. So today I wanted to show you how I make my black opal nails. So as you can see, it takes a lot of different products. It's easy to do, but it is a little bit time consuming because you are doing a lot of different colors, and this is an inlaid design. So what I'm going to show you on today is a full coverage tip, but these are already rather shapely, so when we're done, this is going to look a little bit thicker than what it will look like when you ever use this on a client. But this is all I have to show this on today. So I've already buffed my tip, and then what I want to do is, for this black opal design, we want a nice solid black background. So I'm going to use 2 coats of a black gel polish for my background. Now I'm going to use Light Elegance black tie. You can use any black polish you like. Okay, so here we have our black nail. You want a rather opaque background, so here I did 2 coats. Now what we want to do is we want to add the little specks that are going to help give us our colors. So for this, I like to use like these little mica flakes or chrome flakes, whatever you want to call them. But I like to use 2 from like different color groups, I guess you could say. See how this one's more like purple and yellow, and this one's more like pink and green? So that's going to help us really set all these different colors in here. So I'm going to start with one. I'm just going to randomly place this on the nail. In bits. Okay, so there's that one. And I don't know where I got these particular flakes from. And then here's some of the other one. You don't have to cover the whole nail. You just want some splashes in there. And you can look at an image of a actual black opal for kind of inspiration of how much splotches you want in there. So now that those flakes are on there, I'm going to take a matte top coat. I'm going to top coat this with a matte gel. Okay, I'm going to set that to cure. This particular one is a Kupa matte gel. This one works really well for the technique here that I'm going to use. So as we're making black opals, those pretty much have, or can have, like every color of the rainbow in there. So that's what I like to put in mine. You can use less colors if you want, or you can kind of use this as an inspiration for a background without it even necessarily going for the look of a black opal. Okay, so now we have it top coated, and now we're going to add our alcohol inks. So with these are alcohol inks I got off of Amazon. They're not specific like nail alcohol inks. They don't have to be. These, if you just get alcohol inks, you can generally dilute them a little bit more with some alcohol, and they're going to last you longer, and they're going to be a lot cheaper than buying alcohol inks that you're going to find on a nail site. So with these, I'm going to see how there's some different colors in here with these specks now that we have on this nail. And we're going to accentuate these now with the alcohol inks. So where I see red specks, or things that I could turn to red specks, I'm going to put on this red alcohol ink. So while there's none really red in this conglomeration of specks that I've put on here, there are ones that are light enough where I know if I put that red alcohol ink on there, they're going to show red. Okay, and we're going to go through this with all of the different colors. See, like some of these specks are showing green, but I know that if I put the orange on there, they're going to show more like orange or yellow. And you can't really go wrong with that, because even if you put a color on there, like I put that yellow on, some spaces and they weren't really yellow, but it turned more green, and it still just brought that green to life. So it's not really gonna mess up anything if you happen to put a different alcohol ink on a color than what's behind of it. Okay, so now I have all my spots that were those flakes covered with an alcohol ink. Okay, now make sure those inks dry, and now we're going to start with adding jellies on top. So these I have from Madame Glam, just jellies. So you don't want anything opaque, you want something, you know, kind of sheer. And I'm also going to use a tiny little brush to help me get these spots kind of a little bit more precise as I got them on here. Now with the Madame Glam ones, I found that the red kind of jelly that I have from them is more opaque, and so that one just kind of looks cloudy when I put it on the nail. So I use the orange on top of the red ink, and it still shines through as red, but the jelly helps kind of pop that color a bit. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to find where these places are. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit more here. I'm going to find where these places are, and I'm going to put that jelly on these places. And here, you can actually put it kind of more of a blob and not flat, which is going to help give dimension to the inlay as well. So I like to kind of blob them on here. And you don't have to stay precisely on the flakes, but as much as you can stay on the flakes is helpful, because you will notice that it looks a little bit different when you go off into the black. So I'm going to have red, red or orange. And now, while that is still wet, I'm going to go in through a yellow. I like doing it this way, that way I can get some of the colors to blend a little bit that are beside each other without like harsh lines. So let's see. And for this, I usually, since it's so little, I usually just take it off the brush of the gel like I'm doing right now. But for recording purposes, I should have just put it on a little palette, because this is a bit of a pain while I'm recording. Okay, so I have all those colors that I want to have covered. Now about here is where I go ahead and I pop that in the light to cure so those don't run everywhere, because we still want to keep some of that dimension. And while this is going on, I would be working on the other hand. And then as we're doing this tip, they only really kind of need to freeze in place, so they don't have to fully cure between colors. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the green. And again, this is just something we go through all the colors until all of those flakes are covered with a gel. And then see, as I'm adding this purple, I haven't cured the blue yet, so it can kind of fuse in with the blue. And I see on here where there's a spot that I missed that needs either some orange or some yellow. So I'm just going to go ahead and plop that in there before I cure this. I'm just going to look it over, make sure everything is covered. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to make sure it gets a full cure. Okay, so now this has been fully cured. I got our nice little lumps and bumps on there of color. And I have tried this without the inks, and I've also tried this without the jelly, and I really need to have both of these together to really get that vibrancy of color that an opal has. How it almost has like that, it's not metallic, but it's almost like a metallic bright color in there. And that's what I found this look needed, was the alcohol inks to really make that color pop, and then the jelly on top of it to accentuate that color and give it a little bit more depth. So now we just need to encase this. So this is an inlay design. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to inlay it in this you can use whatever kind of gel you like to inlay stuff with. You want to make sure you have something that can get in all those little cracks and crevices, since we do have a bumpy design here and you don't end up with air pockets. So right now on this tip, I'm using Manicure from Light Elegance because it's nice and thin. So it's going to get in those places. It's a really nice self-leveling gel. So I'm using that on this tip. And then I'm just going to encase it with that. If I was doing this on a client, then I would use I'd use this kind of like as the bottom layer, and then I would encase it in whatever gel I generally do their nails in, whether it's Extreme or Builder or Cool Gel or anything like that. Okay, so now I've got it encased. And now I just need to shape it up. Now this is a beginner friendly inlay design, because if we happen to file too much, like for say like this lump right here of this orange is still rather sticking out a bit. So when I file, I'm going to take part of that orange to kind of make this nail nice and smooth. That's going to be fine because it is a jelly color. It's going to go all the way through down, and I know I'm not going to go all the way through to that nail. So if I shave off some of that, it's going to be fine. That color's still going to be there. It's not going to be like shaving off, a glitter that's going to lose its color. And then doing this on a client, if you happen to get close to any of the edges and take off any of that black, it's easy enough to just go in there with like a small striper brush and put that black back in there, top coat it, and be done. So let's go ahead and shape this one up. Okay, so now I've got it shaped up, and now we just have to top coat it. And then I love seeing all those colors come to life once it's top coated. Now if you're still a little bit bumpy here, you can just make your top coat a little bit thicker and then let it even out. This one I'm not too concerned about getting it nice and smooth because it is just a tip that I'm just showing this on. But here we go. You have all those colors in there. When the light hits them, it's beautiful. It's a very easy design. It does take some time, so make sure you charge for it. It's a beautiful design. And this is one of my most popular gemstone or crystal designs. This one and rose quartz. And let's just review real fast kind of all the products that we use because there are so many. Kind of a quick rundown, and I'll also list them in the description a bit. I might not list them specifically because you don't have to have these specific things, you just need these types of things. So you need a black gel polish, you need like the little mylar fairy flakes or whatever you want to call them. You need a matte top coat. This one does work well with alcohol inks. I have found that not all of them work well with alcohol inks, but the Kupa one does. So that is about the only one that I'd be like, make sure you get that specifically. And then we have alcohol inks of all the colors you want to use, and gel polishes of all the colors. The only thing I've changed with the Madam Glam is I've taken out the red, because if I put the orange or the yellow on top of the red of the alcohol ink, it gives me the red I'm looking for, whereas the jelly red is a little bit too opaque or cloudy, I found, for this look. And then you just need a gel to encapsulate everything in. All right, thanks for joining me. Let me know if you have any questions.